Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's or this week's AMA from us at Trade the Chain. Thank you for joining us. It is Wednesday, October 20th, and apologies for being a little late. There's just a lot going on this week, and we kind of just sharing some notes and discussing it. Obviously, we have the Bitcoin Futures ETF, which popped out yesterday, and we have a market that's jumping right now. So trying, always Nick digging into
Bitcoin Futures ETF launching on Saturday with Van Eck getting approval this morning.
Yeah. And by the way, Van Eck and Gabor and all those guys over there, I mean, geez, they've been working at just getting anything approved for a long time. So God bless them.
You remember they launched this really random product a few years ago. They launched it was like some ETP or something that had like all these crazy rules. And it's the 23rd is when they announced. I can send the link, Patricio. I'll send the link to the S.E.C filing. But what was I going to say? They rolled out this like bizarre product that you needed to be like some super level of not regular accredited, like some super level. And I think they raised like 600 grand in the first 4 months, like total. Like that was the total amount of money that this thing raised. And I just remember just like sitting there and being like, I feel so like Gabor has been working on this thing and Jan Van Eck, that entire team forever, like since 2016, 2017.
Yeah, no, I always felt bad for Gabor, speaking with him at conferences and stuff. It's like, 1 year this is going to get approved.
But the one thing I'll say is, do you guys think that ProShares having this head start could be insurmountable, even having a few days head start?
Yes.
Yeah, it's especially with the fact that Valkyrie is probably going to be coming soon. So there's going to be a trio of options. I would imagine, although I've not studied fund or fee structure, they can't be too far off. They've got to be competitive. So the fact that BITO is the first and already had 22 million in volume. It's a pretty solid start. Like, I mean, I don't care if you're talking about the tortoise or the hare race. If you get that far of a head start, it is tough to make that up.
And before we go to our disclosures, I will give one last thing on this. The ticker of the week or the year, maybe even the century, I don't know, goes to Valkyrie Funds for picking BTFD as their ticker. So God bless them. Obviously got approval. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, just Google it. That being said, the tie, you guys all know Josh from the tie, our data partner, and of course our chief community officer and research analyst, Nick, and myself. Ryan could not join us today, typical island internet issues. But that being said, none of what we say, talk about, analyze, review, or laugh about is financial advice today and should not be taken as such. We're merely educating us. But thank you all for joining. The first thing I want to dive into with you guys is, well, Nick, let's go over the futures launch, the ETF launch, what you think it's going to do with the market and some points you've raised within the community on that.
Yeah, so I guess just on that, so we've been talking about sentiment pretty much day in and day out around this. And what was interesting is we've only seen this phenomenon happen a few times, but Bitcoin had a bullish sentiment and continued to move higher. And eventually the sentiment trailed off to neutral. So the price continued to move higher while sentiment was more or less, I'm going to kind of stay out of the way. So that was one of the more interesting things that we noticed during the run up. And I was like, that's kind of crazy because sentiment is basically flatlining and you can see kind of, and when it's like the slight red or the slight green around the middle range, we track that as neutral. So you may see a color, but for more or less, it's less than impactful on price when it's so close to the middle center line. So the fact that sentiment was that neutral and price was continuing to move higher was a fantastic phenomenon because basically autopilot for the market was more or less bullish. That was great. So the ETF actually, the sparring on either side was, is this going to be bullish or is this bearish? The bullish case is lots of fund flows are going to come in. Futures market is more or less efficient. It's going to track Bitcoin price closely. It's going to be a good option. The naysayers were, it's not going to be a good enough option. Why would you not just buy spot? and a lot of things around that. Well, the naysayers got proved wrong. We saw 922 million in volume for BITO, which is the first futures ETF that was launched. And we're continuing to see large spot buys. Just today, trading volume was up 7 to 10%. And that was after, that was just to tip us over all-time high, not even talking about the previous few weeks. So trading volume is up. Twitter volume is up, sentiment is high, but something to be concerned about is the trade is obviously getting crowded. If too many people are realizing that things look bullish, that's generally when things start to flip on their head. So currently we're looking 68 to 70K as a really good, strong target for where we're currently at. But we would expect to see some exhaustion around those levels. I think we've got a few more percentage points to go. We've got obviously more ETFs coming. So there should be more buys, more activity in the derivatives market. I don't think we're bearish, but I do think we will eventually get exhausted as we tip into that 7,000 number. We know those are the big psychological levels. So just watch out, although cautiously bullish. And I personally still have my longs open. I have not closed them yet. So that's just me.
Josh, what are your thoughts coming from, particularly the data side and stuff like that on what the ramifications of the ETF, the BTC futures ETF launches are going to do to the market and what you're seeing and hearing around the street on the institutional side?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the impact of ETF, I mean, it's something we've been waiting for so long. I mean, not surprised in the slightest that it pumped us to new all-time highs. I always thought the ETF news, it didn't matter where price was going to take us to an all-time high. And I kind of like the fact that we got the futures ETF before the regular ETF, because maybe we can double pump. Like maybe if this takes 3 more months, we can get the pump once. Like, I think it's kind of like the MicroStrategy thing, right? Like the first time that Micro Saylor came out and was like, we bought Bitcoin, it was like massive pump. Then the second time, which is kind of like the second Van Eck ETF news, it was this little smaller. And at this point, like if he goes out and buys $50 million worth of Bitcoin, everyone's
Nobody
like,
cares.
oh, who gives a shit? But I think we'll see that on the futures ETF front. Like we'll get a few, and the first few ones will have an impact, and they'll just get smaller and smaller every single time. And I think it will fizzle. And then once we get that actual Bitcoin ETF, I think it will be huge. But the one thing that I will say as a side note is there is no reason an Ethereum futures ETF shouldn't be launched now. Like CME has a Bitcoin market and has an Ethereum market. I don't think there's any reason that an Ethereum futures ETF would be rejected. Look, I'm not a regulator, so I can't say that with certainty, but structurally it is very similar. So I imagine that, wow, look at that price movement on ETH there. Maybe somebody knows something I don't. I don't have any inside information on this.
Price is quite literally moving, or was moving while you were saying that, like by $100.
I mean, I think that we will get an Ethereum ETF approved. I think we'll get an Ethereum futures ETF approved before we get a Bitcoin spot ETF approved, which is quite interesting. I think there'll be a big impact on Ethereum. And it also just opens Ethereum to a world of other investors that maybe weren't touching it yet. So that's my thoughts on that front. The one thing I say all the time, I love saying it, is when no one talks about crypto, buy Bitcoin. When everyone talks about Bitcoin, buy shitcoins. And when your college friend texts you about shitcoins, run. I think we're about to be at the point of everyone buying Bitcoin, which means shitcoins are coming next. Not financial advice, but just something that I've seen where, look, if Bitcoin clears 70K, I think alts are going to moon, like absolutely moon. As I always say, all about the shitcoins, all about the shitcoins.
On the Ethereum topic, I want to just bring it back to the research that we plopped in the community. I want to say late September, early October, that showed Ethereum with the largest amount of fund flows for the first 2 quarters of, or I want to say the second and third quarter of 2020. So Ethereum is currently one of the more popular, if not the most popular fund allocation assets of 2020. I think Bitcoin is actually growing just because of the recent news in past weeks. Ethereum took a big chunk of portfolios throughout Q2 and Q3, which obviously was when it wasn't 4K or even 3K at times. So big buyers were entering the space mid-year for a reason, and I agree with Josh on his outlook.
Yeah. And to Josh's, Patricio, that is a great cheat sheet that he mentioned. And what Josh is referring to is once we start to top out, we get some profit takers on the Bitcoin, that money has a tendency to bleed right down into the altcoins. And that's when we see the altcoin market start to rally a lot. So, I know there's a lot of folks, I get a lot of DMs, and so does the rest of the crew about, hey, Bitcoin is tearing it up. Why aren't the altcoins moving? Why is everything neutral, slightly down, or just a little up? And that's generally the reason to be had for it. So keep on the lookout for that. 70,000 is, according to Nick, to his point, is a very big mental number, even though we have a lot of true technicals levels between that and after that. One thing I want to tell,
by the way, really quick, I want to hit something on the Ethereum ETF front.
What's that?
I want to show something from the Ethereum ETF perspective.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go for it, brother.
So something I think is interesting, I'm just looking at every real-time SEC filing that mentions ETH. Something that's really interesting is today, 10 SEC filings mentioned Ethereum since 6:02 a.m. this morning. And if you look, I went into that's the Valkyrie one. Here's the Van Eck filing. This is the Van Eck ETF Trust. It actually makes reference to Ethereum 8 times, which is pretty significant. The Valkyrie ETF also makes mention to Bitcoin and something that the Van Eck thing made entry. If you go to the bottom here, I noticed that it references a Van Eck Bitcoin strategy ETF and a Van Eck ETF strategy ETF filed herewith. So they're talking about both Bitcoin and Ethereum, not here, unless this looks like a mistake. But they're referring to both Van Eck and Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think that's something that we should keep an eye out for, because Ethereum will move, I think, very hard if that gets approved.
Yeah, I have high hopes for Ethereum.
Yeah, I really don't see that. I don't see that 8 to 10,000 mark out of the way for going through this bull run. I think it has a lot of legs to pick up. Quick note, folks, if you have any questions whatsoever, there's the chat. You can drop them in the chat. Otherwise, there's also the Q&A function located at the bottom, just off center on the left there of your Zoom controls. Feel free to ask just about anything within reason to us, and we'll answer. Also, one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's not a popular subject among many, and a very popular subject amongst others, is XRP. And so I'm gonna touch on this. And I don't think I've actually touched on XRP ever, like in 2 years of YouTubing. The reason being is, well, one thing I noticed is that we got this spike in sentiment going up. But I've also had a lot of discussions over the last couple of days with folks on what's happening with the S.E.C. and their court case. I mean, look at that. Wow. The XRP is in this, obviously most people know this legal fight with the S.E.C. Over the security Howey test laws and things like that nature. And we've seen a lot of others go through this. The thing about XRP is they seem to be poised to have a really great fighting stance against the S.E.C. And after looking through all the filings and all the lobs back and forth from both sides, I actually, if I had to predict right now, would expect that the S.E.C. will pull out of this case on their own accord before the end of the year. That being said, I've been putting forth a question that equals the 2008 housing market with credit default swaps, where we had billionaires minted who were on the right side of a binary bet and other people lose tons of money on the other side. Now, when this case gets decided on or withdrawn from, how big is the price action going to be? If the S.E.C. pulls out of this case, does XRP stand to be a great play for 5, 10x?
That's insane. I mean, 10x is it? Just think about how big the market cap of XRP. I mean, what is the market cap right now? And not that
So-
market cap even matters in this industry.
Does it
My first
matter? The
question-
supply, just the supply.
My first question goes to you, Alex, who you're probably more privy to this than I am. So the reason that XRP is thinly traded right now, well, it's not even that thinly traded, but it's, you can't really trade it on US soil right now. What is the process for getting it relisted back? Let's say S.E.C pulls out Monday, any Monday, how quickly is it back on Coinbase? How quickly is it back on Kraken, on Voyager or something like that?
Within weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be the thing to me, is just how long is this catalyst taking, and what if everything flips on a single switch, then I think we see probably like a 10x almost instantaneously within a short amount of time.
I don't think it's going to 10x. If it 10x, it's bigger than Ethereum. So I don't think it's going to 10x. I think it can move very, very hard. I think there's a lot of retail interest and retail support, but I think 10xing is crazy. I mean,
what was Doge's peak market cap?
Maybe 60 billion or so. XRP is 53 right now. And so,
Wow. Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
Well, here's
and you have to remember, think about how much the Ripple, like if you are Ripple, if you're David Schwartz and those Brad Garlinghouse, those guys, you are selling the fuck into that run up. Like you are selling everything. And they've done that before. They call it like on-demand liquidity. In other words, we're going to dump on you. And so I don't see that. I look, maybe it doubles or triples, which is asinine and ridiculous because it does absolutely nothing. But I can't see it 10xing.
Ripple's peak was $3.30. It's currently at 114. So a double would be all-time high. I wouldn't go as, I think a triple to 5x is plausible considering what we know happens during alt season, during parabolic runs. All-time high is generally the first target. I think that's attainable even with market cap. And then I think it could probably do a 2x there, maybe go full parabolic and then, and continue. So probably 5x I'll amend and say is the top, but I wouldn't get greedy past 2x because Josh makes a good point. The Ripple team will be selling like hell as soon as it gets to that point because they've already done it.
Well, I mean, rule number one is, the crypto markets are not a reasonable market, right? So, to your point, I think there'll be a lot of hype driven but I also agree with what Lucas dropped in the comment section here. I don't know if it's going to be 10, 20 million. They know Ripple has a big bank account. I'd put another zero behind that. But I agree there's going to be a no admission or denying of guilt to make this go away because the S.E.C's their budget operates on fines, so they need to get their piece of the pie on the way out. That being said, in speaking to Lucas, and I'm going to give him credit for this, is the fact that a lot of, there could be a lot of this already baked into the price. This has been going on for some time and, Ripple XRP has gone up already to, $1.15 and so forth. And a lot of people speculating on this. So what are your thoughts that a lot of this could be just baked in?
I think some of it is. I've heard some of, as far back as January, February, I was talking to some of the largest market makers that had a feeling that Ripple would settle and we're buying it or we're trading options around that based off information they thought they had, but that didn't seem to come to fruition. So I think certainly it can be baked in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it certainly can be baked in a little bit. Look, I mean, this thing runs with retail and Cardano's gotten up to 80 billion and, smart contracts, exist as much as my abs do. So
this is a completely unique style news event. And I think I can't equate it to the ETF because obviously, but it is very similar to that in the sense that there's a clear case for either side to be made. Whereas generally,
how much did EOS move on the block one settlement? I think this will be bigger, but how much did EOS move on the block one settlement?
The big difference to here is let's go back to our SIG dev listings, like the big exchange listings. We know what happens to price and we know those are a unique style news event where price rips. this is a exchange listing. I mean, it isn't, but it will be, because they will get relisted back on the US's biggest exchanges if they settle with the S.E.C. And we're going to get that SIGDEV alert. It's going to say Coinbase listed XRP, and the price is going to do 50%. And if that happens, we will get that alert. I mean, that's part of our service, but we know what happens in those style of events. So I think it's priced in nominally because we just got a boost from rumors coming. So it will continue to move up and get priced in, but exchange listings, big exchanges, those matter. And that's the style event we're looking at here.
Okay. Also, thoughts on Tether? Anybody read the Celsius blog post that came out after, a lot of FUD being spread? I know there's a lot of folks, especially a lot of our members that use Celsius, and we're, a lot of stuff going around that they got a cease and desist letter from New York State. Celsius went on defensive and came out and said, no, we haven't. We basically got only a request for information, but then also basically went on to chastise Tether. And what those loan, so what happens with stable coins is, if you're an institution, you can go to a stable coin directly and have new minted stable coins lent to you. And usually either that's to finance longs or shorts, or for an institution turn around and use that for clients like a prime broker would. But they basically just bash Tether. What are your thoughts on Tether and just any of this stuff going around? Because now it seems like it's like a schoolyard fight.
Well, I knew Celsius had a cease and desist from Kentucky. I'm not privy towards the New York event that you're referring to. But in terms of Tether, I'm not going to say that there's no fire, because I think where there's smoke, there's always something. I don't think if the world redeemed their Tether today, all would be well. I'll put it that way. But I don't see a run happening anytime soon. And Tether would have to be absolutely dumb, just the dumbest company in the world, to not at least prop their reserves to a ability for at least a significant portion of redemptions to come Q4 of 2021 and Q1 of 2022. If they don't think that there's going to be a supply crunch or people wanting to get their money, then I think they're crazy. And time again, we've heard this about Tether. We've been through many market events that have been quite scary and concerning. Tether's held up. We've seen a large amount of redemptions happen. Tether's held up. And I think every crack that's been taken at them has either been settled or failed. So I can't point and say that Tether is an issue, but I can point and say that Tether is probably not 100% nailed down as anyone would like them to be.
All right, fair enough. Josh, any great up and coming news? And folks, don't forget, put in the Q&A or the chat any questions you may have for us.
Any great up and coming news in the market, like things that I expect, or for Tether?
Anything in general? Are you going to get? I see you got your first piece of furniture.
I no longer give commentary on Tether, because I've been in this market for so long, and every day there's been a different Tether story, this, that, the other thing. I'm so over it. I have no comment on Tether anymore. I'm over it.
Feed me your Tether FUD. Give me something to do on Twitter for an hour later today. I'll
it's just like it's like, look, maybe there's something going on there, but people have been trying really hard to find something for a very, very, very long time. There's a very large number of people. By the way, is that cup from Target? I think I have the same cup.
It is. Yes. as are my bowls.
In terms of other news, look, I mean, you asked earlier, and I didn't get a chance to address this on the institutional front. I mean, the interest is insane. It is obscene. It is insane. It is ridiculous. It is from every single hedge fund in the world. Everyone is trading it. It may be very small. In some cases, the way it's structured is a little bit interesting. Like, I'm finding a lot of like, okay, the hedge fund doesn't have a mandate. We can't trade crypto yet, but a bunch of the partners and team members will pool together $30 million internally, and we'll do a proof of concept. If it works, we'll then go out and launch, and we'll go fundraise for a fund, and our LPs, like our investors, the Saudi sovereign wealth fund. And so we'll just ask them for like $1 billion or whatever, like just a small amount of money for them. And so Like that's the kind of thing I'm seeing. I will say though that people that are in crypto just know so much more about this asset class than some of these people moving in. It's like ridiculous. Like I have conversations with different folks and I'm just like, do you know anything? Like they're really far behind, but the interest is there. They're coming. And, you know, as I mentioned to you guys offline before, there are people that have publicly said we're not in crypto. And I can tell you for a fact that is garbage and that is not true and that is not accurate. So the interest is absolutely there. From an institutional perspective. And I think, you know, crypto is over 2.5 trillion in market cap. Bitcoin is $66,000. You know, it's only going to drive more interest, not less.
The last thing I have on the agenda is a little NFT insight. So Nick, I was wondering, you know, Nick's kind of like our resident NFT guy here at Trade the Chain. I wanted him to kind of drop some knowledge on what he's seeing out in the market and research, and then also find out from Josh, how many NFTs does he own, if any, and which ones? He
Actually,
owns one NFT.
Two NFTs.
Okay, so I'm sharing my chart. So every day, and I need to make a better, I need to put this into the Trade the Chain community as well. So apologies for those that I have not done that for. But the Platypunk community is public. So this is publicly available. I'm certainly not hiding it. But weekly, I do an NFT research update for the community. And we've been pretty spot on for the past few weeks, at least in our kind of 7 days out predictions. So I just want to give a quick update since I know that is growing and I've made a good bit of money. And I'll be completely honest, I'm not flourishing in the NFT market as much as I was a few weeks ago, but I'm certainly not giving up on my conviction for the market. I'll say that as well. So this is the weekly trade volume for NFTs. And as you can see, blow off top, more or less timed with the previous top. What's interesting about what's happening now is we are consolidating. So if you're looking at let's say an altcoin or a shitcoin price action like this coming from all-time highs with Bitcoin rising, you're probably looking for your entry point right around here. And I think a lot of the market is actually like starting to realize I'm getting a lot of offers on a lot of my old purchases, which means that smart, savvy buyers are looking at older good collections and saying, I'm gonna make some stink bids and see if I can get it for cheap. So that's a good sign that I'm seeing. We're not seeing volume rise. But we are seeing volume more or less keep the same pace week over week, which isn't a bad thing. If volume is decreasing like by massive amounts, that's a big worry. We are decreasing week over week, but that's because pretty much the entire conversation for the month of October has been either buy Bitcoin or get your altcoin buys ready. So that's kind of just the state of the market. I expect this to be more or less within the range for a few weeks, and probably the beginning of November to mid-November, we will start to see NFTs pick up again. There is a few catalysts coming for the NFT market. One, Coinbase is launching their NFT marketplace. There's already 1.1 million people signed up. I believe OpenSea's user base is 400,000, 500,000. Coinbase could double the NFT market entrant size almost immediately. That's huge. They will start on Ethereum. They will expand to more chains. The second one, Twitter has said that they are going to integrate NFT profile picture verification. So if I want to upload a Bored Ape Yacht Club and I don't own it, Twitter will not let me use that as my profile picture. That's going to be the catalyst for the big blue chip profile picture NFTs. Anyone with an expensive or popular profile picture will automatically use that service, and the FOMO parade will begin on Twitter. I think that will also be a huge catalyst for the next NFT bull run as well. So keep a lookout for those two things as kind of your signal in the market. But obviously, just like with altcoins, you're looking for big returns, you're taking a high risk. This is when you want to start hawking buys. So daily active wallets looks very much like volume. So less people are trading NFTs. Likely the case is they're moving back into the traditional markets. So we're expecting a bottoming out of that soon. This is a very interesting one. Average price of the NFT sales looks very much like every big large cap crypto before it starts to boom on its next leg. We always get the big boost. we get the second boost, we consolidate, and then we get higher. So I'm expecting average price of an NFT to maybe consolidate over the next week or so, but then get higher and rise, especially around when Coinbase and Twitter do their thing. The interesting part about the secondary sales is you can see secondary sales are much less than the primary sales. So this is also, to me, is that people are buying, they're buying their original mint and then they're either holding it, and people are not buying secondary mints as much. That's a direct signal to me that most people are trading cryptocurrencies. The secondary market is a massive signal to the run up. As you can see here, we're consolidating around previous highs, around support. Things look positive. That'll be a big catalyst. And I think probably the biggest signal to me that people are trading rather than looking at NFTs right now is Uniswap is a higher gas guzzler than OpenSea. For the past 5 weeks I've been covering this, OpenSea has been around between 10 and 22% of gas. It's now under 10%. Uniswap has taken its role, meaning it's literally showing you trading is primary to NFTs right now. We expect that to change, but obviously people are hawking their altcoins. So NFTs are certainly looking like they're in a trough, but everyone knows this is when you buy. The funds all bought Ethereum when it was 2,800, 3K, 3,500. The funds all bought Bitcoin when it was 30K, 35K or less. So this is when smart buying is happening, and I'm not. There's too much of a bull case for NFTs moving forward once people make money off Bitcoin and altcoins, and with two major market catalysts coming on the horizon. So I'm still bullish on NFTs. I bought more this week. I probably won't stop.
Thanks, Nick, for that. All right, very cool. Guys,
You don't even want to know about NFTs, Alex? You don't want to know which NFTs I own?
I didn't know if you were going to divulge them.
Oh yeah.
Go for it.
The first one is a neural Pepe. It's an AI generated Pepe on Binance Smart Chain. I got an advertisement for it like 8 months ago, and it was 0.2 BNB, which was like $80. And I was like, I want an AI generated Pepe. So I bought that. No idea what it's worth. Probably can't sell it. And the second one is I have an NFT that somebody made of me, which is kind of weird, but I am not in the.
Do you have these to show off? I mean, can you show these off?
Oh, neural Pepe? Sure. Please buy my bags.
Neural Pepe.
I don't even know how to. I mean, I guess I can connect my MetaMask.
Speaking of Pepe, I made some money off a Lonely Frog Lambo Club. It was a free mint that I put into the Trade the Chain community. I was honestly worried. I was like, it's free mint. I don't think anyone's going to lose money, but like, I was like totally worried everyone was going to fry me and wake up the next day and everyone's gonna be like, you're an idiot. Why did you mint this? And ended up going crazy. The free mints were selling for 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. I had people in the community that were like, hey, I just made 0.2 off this and it was free last night. Like, thank you. And 0.2 ETH at the time was, 3,500 times 0.2. So I mean, $600-700 off of a $50 gas fee. So, that's what can happen sometimes if you get lucky with the NFT market.
I can't share my screen. It's not letting me. I will drop this link. I don't recommend anybody buy this. I bought it as a joke.
Pepe.
There, go for it. Try it. Come on, show it.
Well, can you let me share my screen?
I did.
Oh, okay. Well, this is it. I don't know which number I have. I forgot, but I have one of these things.
Oh, these are actually kind of cool. Damn it! Why'd you show me these?
Well, you can mint them still. They still haven't fully minted for 0.7 BNB. I paid 0.2. And funny. So you could see like over time, and then how do you see where you can buy them? I don't even know.
So you have to mint. Are you talking about the marketplace?
Yeah, I don't know where the marketplace is. Oh, here we go. NFT key marketplace. Let's see what they're selling for. Price.
Go to buy now. Listings, click listings.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Price lowest. Okay, 0.2. That's what I paid. Yeah.
Let's see the price highest. Hold on. See the price highest.
Oh, but that's not what's sold.
100K BNB. Oh, that's a pretty cool one. It's literally. What's
the highest that's been? The lowest sold is 0.05. So that's probably what I could get for mine because mine is not that cool. Highest one is 12 BNB.
Whoa.
One thing while we're on this is just for like projects that are like copying other things. So the Pepe creator has actually been on a tear, like suing all the projects that are, copywriting Pepe, because actually he makes really good money off that freaking fraud. So just be careful buying like Pepe's and stuff like that. Now, like not a dig on Josh. I don't know if Josh was aware of this 8 months ago when he saw it, but
it was like $60 or something.
yeah, just be careful though if you do see something that looks like that, because it may be sued for copyright, and then the marketplace will have to take it down if they're not fully decentralized, which could mean that you have a massive like supply crunch or demand crunch.
I didn't think any other person in the world knew about this Neural Pepe thing. So I think I'm.
There are other Pepe projects though that have been taken down.
Oh,
So like, I just add the disclaimer.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I have a neighbor, and I don't know if you guys, Nick, you know Metasaurs?
Yeah, I have a few.
Do you? Okay. So the creator of Metasaurs.
I have the only NFT collection that Nick doesn't own one of.
So the Metasaurs NFT creator is my neighbor. And I
Wait,
just found
Dr.
this.
DMT is your neighbor?
Yeah, and I just found this out the other day. So I'm going over to his place to have a drink later.
No, tell him I own a few. Tell him, yeah, hell yeah.
He's made millions
yeah.
off the last month.
They just auctioned off
when trade the chain NFTs, Alex.
Well, we got Brandon Brown NFTs from his Talladega win that are going to go live soon. But we're working on different stuff.
Dude, that's sick. Dr. DM. So he just raffled off a Ford Raptor to someone who owned Metasaurs because that was part of their launch gimmick. It was so funny. He was like doing his live stuff, and he's like totally normal sounding dude. He's got like kids in the background. He's like thanking everybody for buying all the Metasaurs and stuff. It's hilarious. Just like super normal people just creating really dope art and just shipping it out. His marketing was very good too. So he did a very good job marketing. He tied it to the Bored Ape Yacht Club early. He did very well.
Yeah, like I said, he's made a couple $1 million off the last month from it, so I don't expect him to be my neighbor for long. But let's see. Also, want to go to we got a question. Can I get a Let's Go Brandon NFT? And that comes from our good friend DJ Crypto. So this is the way it works. We're going to run a first cast of it for TTC members, and they will be rewarded with a Let's Go Brandon NFT. And the rest will be available to the public. But before anything finalizes, I do have to get with Nick on this since he is our head of NFTs. And for all you folks who, let's see, share my screen, that didn't see it, this is the Trade the Chain Send Token car. This will be the NASCAR paint scheme in Kansas this Saturday for the Kansas NASCAR race, and we are going pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So guys, check that out on NBC and whatnot. But we are gearing up for actually some really cool NFTs, and we'll bring those forward very shortly.
I think it's only appropriate that he changes his number to 69. I feel like the crypto race car has to be number 69.
We I don't think that's allowed.
You just get the set logo to cover the bottom of the 8 right here.
Just cover the, but then I'd have to get, what is it? I'd have to change my hats to get 69 put on. But anyway, that's it. We digress. This show is changing subjects. Folks, thank you for joining us. If you didn't catch the whole thing, we will have this posted on my YouTube channel later on. And if you have questions that come up after this, obviously head into the Discord. You can hit us all up, including Josh, who lingers in there as well. We thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Thank you, guys.